Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. I am Jeff Bidwell here on April the 25th. Hope you are doing well this morning, a rainy morning here in West Kentucky, wherever you are. Hopefully we see a little sunshine today. Coming up on today's show, we will talk with Murray State sophomore guard Haven Ford, a second team all Missouri Valley Conference member this year for the Racers, part of that Missouri Valley Conference regular season and tournament championship team there in Murray, one of just three all-league performers this year returning next season. So we'll talk with Haven coming up here in just a couple of minutes. America's long national nightmare has come to a close as the transfer portal is closed for both the men and the women. The men was Tuesday, the women Wednesday, officially closed. And I think we've reached a point now where there will be the trickling of the clerical work here, where sometimes it takes up to 48 hours from after kids get into the portal to have it be officially announced. But I think we've reached a point now where there'll be no more surprises. But I think we've all learned to be surprised at some point, but hopefully we are all done with that. Recruiting, it is a big recruiting weekend on the women's side. You will see college coaches, I've seen them all over the place, programs putting out graphics this week, that a lot of AAU events, Ohio, Arizona, Virginia, South Carolina. So staffs all across the country spread out looking for future members of their programs. As again, the offseason lasts about somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds, it seems like, for these coaches. So back now looking for kids to get signed for 2026 and beyond. Headlines of the day today. And hello, Bradley Braves, as they have made some signings here in the last couple of days, and that includes one that we did not know about until it was signed, sealed, and delivered. His name is Mayar Wall. He is a transfer from Eastern Kentucky University. He was the sixth man of the year in the A-Sun this past season. 6'8" sophomore, a couple of years left for Coach Brian Wardle in Peoria. 8.9 points a game, 4.8 rebounds per game this past season for the Colonels of EKU, 40% from the field. Even at 6'8", can step outside a little bit, shot 33% from three-point range, but some more size in the middle there to help replace the Darius Hannahs of the world there in Peoria, and provide some more interior depth for Coach Wardle. The last 2 days, we've seen some signings that we knew about in terms of the commitments that already happened. Now it was just a matter of trying to get the signings completed. And those two young men were A.J. Smith, the transfer from James Madison, and then Alex Hubricks, the transfer from Wright State. Smith, an Edwardsville, Illinois kid, so coming back closer to home. 7.6 rebounds a game last year for the Dukes. He has 1 year of eligibility left. And then you get Alex Hubricks, who spent all 5 seasons of his college career so far at Wright State, had a COVID year, had a medical redshirt year. He's got 1 year remaining, 13.5 points a game last season for Wright State. He is a career 38% three-point shooter. So pretty big get there for Coach Wardle to bring some outside shooting in to the program. One other piece of news from Peoria, and that is on an assistant coach level, as Brian Wardle has rehired Brian Jones, who was with Bradley for one season, the 22-23 year, where the Braves won a Missouri Valley Conference championship. 7 years at Iowa, back from 99 to 2006, working for Steve Alford. Got his first head coaching job at North Dakota, spent 13 years there, made an NCAA tournament in 2017, helped them with the transition to Division I, went to Illinois State for 3 seasons where he was an associate head coach there under Dan Muller. Comes to Bradley in the 22-23 year for 1 year, just went to East Tennessee State the last 2 seasons, and now he is back. So it is a veteran coach that really helps fill in some gaps in terms of of veteran leadership that has left that program. Jimmy Foster, longtime associate head coach, going to Colorado State with Ali Faroukmanesh. Mike Bargan, longtime associate head coach, who has gone on to Indiana with Darren DeVries. And so bringing back Brian Jones, a guy with decades of experience, certainly, and someone that is familiar with the Peoria area, familiar with the Bradley program, familiar with working for Brian Wardle. That is a nice addition there for Coach Wardle. We have Murray State announcing some coaching additions. It has been slow going through all the administrative red tape there at Murray State, but finally here in the last day or so, able to announce some additions. Mardrakus Wade, coach number 2 on the assistant side for Ryan Miller. He has been announced most recently an assistant coach at Alabama State. He is a former standout at the University of Arkansas, had his playing career there. He's from Memphis. When he got out of his playing days, he played overseas, went back home, started working for the Hoop City Basketball Club. Well, the president of the Hoop City Basketball Club is Ernie Kuiper, who is now the general manager of the Murray State men's basketball program. So again, as we talk about all the time, it's a relationship-based world. Mardrakus Wade joins Ryan Miller's staff at Murray State. And then just yesterday, Cullen Neal also officially announced as joining the staff there at Murray State. 5 years in college coaching, has been an assistant at Nevada. He's been an assistant at Rice, and most recently, the last couple of years at Hawaii. Bless people. I said the Racers had spent time a week in Honolulu out there at the Diamond Head Classic this past year. You would have to drag me kicking and screaming to get me out of Honolulu. But Cullen Neal, great playing career, was at New Mexico, St. Mary's, scored 1,300 points. It's always good when you have assistant coaches that are 6'5", can get the guy's attention a little bit, but a purported great player development guy, and another addition there for Coach Miller. So now with Brendan Mullins, who was retained from the last staff, with his ties certainly many years there in the Missouri Valley Conference at several stops, and now Wade and Neal, 3 assistants. The Kuiper at the general manager, the staff is starting to come into place there for Ryan Miller at Murray State. And then finally, I believe we talked about this the other day, but Dylan Anderson had committed. He has now officially signed. The 7-footer out of Arizona, spent 2 years with the Wildcats, went to Boise State last year, played a fair amount halfway through the year. I think, really the first 8 games of the year, he averaged about 8 points a game, but fell out of the rotation. Last 16 games, only scored 16 points total. Played 4 games past mid-January, but he is a 2-time Gatorade High School Player of the Year out of Arizona. You're going to bet on the pedigree. You're going to bet on the 7 feet, and you're going to bet on the fact that he will have an opportunity with this staff here at Murray State to get the most out of him. And he has officially signed now with the Racers. All right, time now to, speaking of Murray State, bring in our guest today. She is Haven Ford, a member of the Murray State championship team at Murray this year, winning their first ever share of the Missouri Valley Conference Championship, winning their first ever Missouri Valley Tournament Championship, getting back to the NCAA tournament, just the second time in program history. The last time it had happened was all the way back in 2008. And Haven Ford, one of 4 all-conference players on that team this year. Caitlin Young, the greatest player, all-time leading scorer, all-time leading rebounder in program history. She was a first-teamer, and then you had 3 second-team players in forward, Ava Learn, and then the guards, Hallie Polk and Haven Ford. But Polk and Ford, just 2 of 3. They're only returning all-league kids that are back next year. And she will be a big piece and a big reason why the Racers will be picked towards the top of the pack, I have to imagine, when we get towards October for the 2025-26 season. So we got a chance to talk with Haven yesterday afternoon about winning a championship, trying to win another championship, what more she can improve on, and life without Caitlin Young. We'll get into all that right now. Here's my conversation with Haven Ford. All right, Haven Ford, we, I guess, officially have reached the off season after a magical run through your sophomore year there at Murray State. We talked to Coach Rochelle Turner a week or so ago. She said, we as coaches, they got no time to celebrate, enjoy the fruits of all their labor and getting to the NCAA tournament and winning a championship. She said, boy, my players had a good time. So what has sort of the post, hey, we win the Missouri Valley tournament, we get to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time as a group. What has that all been like for you and your teammates?
It's been great just to be able to reflect on that. We still, when we are at the gym together, we still share those stories of like we'll be lifting weights in this post-season workouts, and we're still talking about like the last few minutes of the championship game or the runs that we had, going into that game and stuff like that. And it's special. We all were like, all right, we got to get our rest. Nobody touched the ball, I don't think, when we got back. And we really took those 2 weeks off just to give our bodies a rest, but also just kind of remember those moments. And it was special. And so when we got our first workout, was tough for us because we, again, hadn't been in the gym, hadn't touched the ball, hadn't shot or anything for 2 weeks. And we all were like, you know what, usually we would regret feeling like this, but we actually feel like we deserve to feel like this because we're going to take our break. So, but it's been good.
When you come to college, I'm sure somewhere in the back of your head, like every kid that's ever played college basketball, I want to play in the NCAA tournament one day. You got to do it at the end of year 2. At what point in the journey did the hopes and dreams of maybe someday I get to play in the NCAA tournament turn into this might actually happen?
It was definitely the middle of the season. Coming in, I was thinking, okay, possibly, at the end of my 4 years, by that time, we'll have it all figured out, and that's plenty of time. Like 4 years, like we can get it done. And just seeing how much, like how good we were this year, it really hit. Like we started beating teams who we hadn't beat, we struggled against. And then we got over that hump, and we just kept getting over those humps that we had struggled with in the year past. And I'm like, okay, we got something special here. Like we can actually get this thing done. And so when we came down that last stretch of beating Belmont, we had to win like that brutal stretch of like 2 weeks where we had to get those wins. After that, we going into the tournament. I'm like, okay, this is our time. Like we can get it done. And so that's really when I kind of knew. Now, if you would have told me that coming in after senior year, like you're going to be playing an NCAA tournament your second year, I've been like, whoa, ain't no way. But for it to just go like already happen was something special. And it was a childhood dream of mine. I'd watch the brackets come out. I was the one filling out the brackets, keeping up with it day to day. And so to see your name up there with it was special.
It was such a you always almost expect a championship game to go down to the end, but you guys, it was tight, and then it wasn't. And Belmont, waves the flag and says we're done, and you guys get to get the curtain call walking off. When you get to that moment and you're on the bench with your teammates and you're able to just kind of soak those final moments in, and then the buzzer sounds and the celebration's on. Just can you describe just those feelings that you went through, and certainly the amount of work you guys have gone through in preparation for this moment was pretty immense.
Definitely some happy tears. We were laughing about it. We were smiling, joking through it. Like it's something that we had at the beginning of the year had put on our little goal sheets of our team bonding and stuff like that of, we're going to win like a Missouri Valley championship, and to be those, like have those moments away of actually getting to experience that. It was just like, words couldn't describe it in the moment. Like our emotions were kind of all over the place, but it was something that we knew that we could cherish forever. And it just felt like a relief of like, you try so hard, you go through the ups and downs of every season, and just knowing like as the clock wind down and we're throwing the ball up and celebrating it, it was just like a relief that came off, but it was just so much joy in those moments.
You dislocated your finger in that championship game, gruesomely, and God bless you for being able to fight through that, poking through the bone, and we got you back out on the floor. And I had nothing to do with it. Yeah, a lot of very trained medical professionals able to get you back on the floor. But just now that we're 6 weeks or so past, how's the finger? Everything okay?
Yes, it's definitely getting better week by week. I'm starting to get, rotation on my shot just through the workouts, and that was my number one concern, like coming off of it. It was just, how much of like range of motion am I going to get back, and it's going to be a long process, and it may not ever be back to normal again, but it's just kind of getting comfortable with it, finding that new norm, and just trying to do all that I can to at least, play through it without it like the mental battle of it. But it's we're doing good. We're getting checkups on it, and everything's looking good. No infection, none of that. So it's just kind of figuring out this new norm of the swelling isn't going to go down anytime soon in it, but I'm still able to use it a lot better than the first few weeks.
Worth the trade-off?
100%. 100%. 100%.
What was your NCAA tournament experience like? Getting to go to Oklahoma and play in Iowa?
It was big for me. It was just, again, I felt like just a little kid. You watch those moments on TV and you only see the games through TV, but going behind the scenes of just getting flown out. And then, we get to the hotel's decorated in March Madness stuff, the gear that we got when we got to the gym, and we got to take all that stuff home. And just even the little things like the March Madness social media page, just posting about us and having our logo up there. It was just all special. And even I know the game didn't go as we wanted to or planned, but I mean, that's an experience that, I'll still never will forget, and I'm forever grateful for. And just knowing that, we were playing on national television. Like, you turn on ESPN, we were right there. And so all that just kind of added up into joy, because, I mean, I was dreaming of it as a little kid.
So much change going on in the program now. When you lose a young lady who is one of your best friends in Caitlin Young, the greatest to ever wear the Murray State jersey, and the other seniors, Ava Learns and Trinity Whites and Jenna Walker's gone, and now it's okay. It's the new. This is what we are without life after Kate in a lot of ways. How has you're just kind of getting going and going through workouts and so on, but what's the vibe around the building right now with just this really seismic shift around the program?
I'll be honest, I don't think it's really, hit us as hard, I feel like, as it may in June, when we're actually all together and going through workouts, kind of having those full team practices. But we've been playing pickup, and, Kate, Trin, and Ava have all been, and now we're playing against them. But we were on the same team with them not a few months ago. And so, again, we're not going to be able to replace all the things that they brought to our team. They brought so much, especially Kate. And so you're not going to go out and find a player that can come in and do, play like Kate with a 3-level score, as opposed that can go back to the basket. And so all of those aspects that she has, but we're able to, adjust in a way that we know we've got to pick up what they brought. And I think, our coaches have done a really good job in the portal. We're excited about the kids that they brought in. And so it's just kind of, we all got to be kind of open to adjusting and being able to get through, what those seniors brought to our team. But I have full confidence in our team coming up, our coaching staff. So I know that we'll get it figured out. Now, how long it'll take, we'll see, but I do believe we'll get through that. But again, we're not going to be able to replace everything that they brought, but we're going to be able to, put people in spots and change some things to where we can still be successful with what we have coming.
When you came in out of high school, you walked in the door, and that was when Rochelle Turner said, "Hey, we're going to this system, and we're going to play fast, and we're going to press, and we're going to run, and we're going to shoot threes." And now, getting ready for year 3 of the system, you're getting for year 3 of college. What has been the biggest transformation, maybe evolution of the system from when it started to where it is now, and maybe where it can still continue to get better for you guys moving forward?
I think it's just having those years of experience in it. We have, girls on a team that has went through it multiple years, and we kind of know what to expect now. Like, I know coming in as a freshman, I was kind of like, okay, so how's this whole thing working? Like, I know we're playing fast, and the little perks to it. And so now that we have everyone who has had a few years on their belt with it, it's kind of just like a confident thing with it, and just understanding, and being able to see, what part of it has it been successful, what has not worked, what we have to do for it to work and what we did that didn't work. So it's just being able to see all that and have those analytics and having that experience will help us for sure.
I don't want to call it a crisis of confidence, but we have talked plenty, certainly when you started at the college level, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then took you a little while and you got your legs under you. And by the end of your freshman year, you were rolling. This year, you averaged 15 points and 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and you're a second team all league player. What has, when you sort of self-audit and you're looking at the future now, you've taken a huge leap from year 1 to year 2. What can you get better at as we go from year 2 to year 3 that you're like, tangibly, this is something I can improve on and better our team by getting better at that?
Definitely just adding more kind of counter moves to my game. I'm I think on my personal scout, I put myself as a really hard right-handed driver. I can get to the rim. And now it's just people are going to take that away even more, especially when we hit conference season. So, can I get to my spot and pull up and hit those kind of pull-ups consistently, still shooting off the dribble. I gotten a lot better with shooting, stationary, catch and shoot threes. My three-point percentage has increased in that aspect, and I was really looking forward to that, movement coming into the season. And so now it's about, okay, coming off the dribble, can I hit the pull-up consistently? Can I hit a 3 off a ball screen consistently? Not being labeled to just being a driver. Maybe I can drive in Barkley to where I'm not running people over and getting charges in here and there. And so there's still a lot that I know that I can add and get better at. And so that just keeps, I'm kind of hard on myself. And so I like to critique myself in a way that I always want to get better. I'm not satisfied with anything. And so I know that there's still growth that I can make.
You and Hallie Polk, the 2 all-league returners, sort of that. Somebody's running the point, somebody's running the off guard, whatever it may be, and that's kind of shifted throughout the year. If you had full decision-making priorities in that, which would you rather be? Do you want to be the person, the pusher, as Rochelle Turner says, bringing the ball up the floor, or are you more comfortable trying to fill wings?
We both can do it. I think we both would be like, we really are exchangeable. I feel like towards kind of the end of the year, I was kind of more of the pushing because it gets Hallie out in space more. So I would say, like, pushing wise, I was more as the one, so to speak, but we kind of interchange. Whoever gets out going first can fill that role, and usually on makes I'll be the one that would push it up. So it varies, but we're both good at playing in space. We both can interchange, and it got to a point where we were like, all right, whoever's close, just get it and we can go. So we can really in exchange in that spot.
When someone comes in like a Hallie Polk coming out of Bradley her freshman year, and now you two, to your point, sort of interchangeable pieces that are mirror images in a lot of way, the way you guys try to play the game. How long did it take for you to feel comfortable on the floor where, all right, she's not having to learn about me, I'm not having to learn about playing with her, where it just felt like, okay, this is now natural, us being out there together?
Definitely in the middle of June, I could tell, just when we got to just get those reps with each other and just feeling how we play our strengths to each other's games and how we can help each other out. And so in those areas, like, once we figure that out, it just kind of naturally happened when games hit. And even like we had to adjust in games because the defense are throwing different stuff at us as well. So just adjusting through that, and we figured it out, and it just naturally happened to where we can pick each other up, help each other out in areas, and it makes it hard on defenses. It really does, having 2-point guards out there, and you just got to pick your poison. So that just helps us even more, like, get better at playing together.
The middle of June, I mean, that was 2 weeks. You guys figured it out in 2 weeks?
We I would say that's when it started, but I'm saying like when we hit official practices to where we just constantly was going through our team practice reps. We were going through our offenses, the early transition and all that stuff. That's when we kind of like buckled down and we got a lot more reps in that, but it started in June.
You guys are going to be, I mean, I think just from a standpoint of you're the defending champions. You are the only school in the league that has 2 all-league players returning. You're going to be picked up near the penthouse, whether it's one, wherever it's going to be. And now you have graduated from being the hunter to now being the hunted. How do you think you as a team and you personally are going to be prepared this summer? And I'm sure it will be a point of emphasis for Coach Turner and the staff, but how are you going to be prepared to face everybody's best shot every night? Because they know when they walk in to the arena that they're trying to knock off the best team in the league.
No, it's definitely going to take, all of the returners to kind of emphasize that within the locker room and making, the people who's coming in understand, this is not, we're trying to accomplish and we're going to try to be the ones to knock people off. And so we're going to be at the top. We're going to have a target on our backs, but that comes with winning a championship and proving ourselves the way that we did last year. So it's just taking, everything seriously, not taking anything off and understanding, the importance of, we got a different role this year, and that comes with, what we were able to do. And getting through those hard games was last year. We kind of felt that target just a little bit. We came in the games and we're expected to win, and it wasn't like, well, we're going to give them our best shot. Like we had to come ready to play, and so having that experience already is just, we got to trickle that into next season and making sure everybody understands, we are the ones that they're going to come at. We're going to get everyone's best shot, like always, and we just got to do what we got to do to get through that and understand the importance of how we can continue to keep doing stuff that's special.
Is it safe to assume that after winning a championship that Coach Turner she's just mellowed out now, settled down a little bit?
In some areas, she's still chasing, we're never satisfied with anything. So she's still chasing another one. Why we're always talking about now, like, why not get a few more, you get a taste of it. So you just got to keep striving to keep doing it. And so that's kind of where her head's at. We can it's like a big relief, but at the same time, it's just like, we're not done yet. So we got to try to keep chasing for more.
As Tom Brady once said, when asked what his favorite championship was, he said, it's the next one.
Exactly.
Can go chase. My last question for you, the school year is almost out. The one thing Coach Turner does with you all is she sends you home for a month at some point during the summer. What big plans do we have for summer break?
Definitely going to support my sister as she's starting her travel ball with AAU. She started with playing softball, so she made that switch to basketball. So we'll still be in some gyms, but, mostly taking some vacation. But at the same time, you still got to put in some work because you don't want to come back and be behind in a sense, because it, as always, is easy to get out of shape, and you just want to come back ready and prepared in a sense. And so just a little make sure of everything, some rest, some work, supporting the fam, and just enjoying the break.
Haven Ford, sophomore guard from the Missouri Valley Conference champion Murray State Racers. Thank you so much for the time today. Good luck with the rest of school for the year here. Finish strong, and then enjoy your break, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So there is Haven, and she's part of the new generation of guards in this league, and the great guards in this league this past season, or the last couple of years, but that are now moving on. The Katie Dinnebeers, the Maya McDermotts, the Lacey Stokes, and to name just a few, just all-time guards in this league, and now they have moved on. And so now the new wave is coming, and Haven Ford is certainly one of those wave. Again, this year she averaged 14.9 points, 6 rebounds, 5.2 assists, and she shot better than 37% from 3-point range. There's only 2 kids in the country that had numbers like that this year. I mean, she was in rarefied air. And a lot of it is just the fact that, she can go dish out 5 assists a game, but even at 5'5", 5'6", wherever she officially is, she goes and gets her nose dirty and goes and gets rebounds. And she's had some big rebounding nights for the Racers, and a lot expected out of her. And she expects a lot of herself, certainly the last 2 years of her run at Murray State. Thank you for the time from Miss Haven today. All right, elsewhere in the Missouri Valley, we've got some more signings, and this is UIC is warming up as Ashleen Bracey up there in Chicago has gone and gotten a couple of standouts. Samantha Serrano from Florida Southwestern Junior College, obviously in Florida, 5'10" freshman, and she can score a bundle, 18 points a game this past season, shot 36% from three for somebody that half of her shots as a 5'10" guard, half of her shots were from the 3-point line, and shot 36%. So she can fill it. And 18 points a game this year, 3 years remaining at UIC for Coach Bracey. And then also announcing the signing of Jay McClure, 5'6" guard out of the Ohio University. 2 years there. She averaged 12.5 points this past season. Not a great 3-point shooter, but pretty good inside the line, 47% from two. Also dished out 3.5 assists per game. A good facilitator as well, averaging 3.5 assists per game there for the Bobcats. So a couple of good additions there in Chicago for UIC. In Carbondale, an addition that's already been there, but now is back and cleared and ready to go. Karis Allen, who played her first 2 years of college basketball at Western Kentucky, missed all of last year due to injury, but SIU announcing yesterday that she has been officially cleared. I was cleared, I guess, 2 weeks ago, but she is now back and ready to roll. So when they get into summer practices, Karis Allen, 6-foot guard from Sikeston, Missouri. So certainly, Sikeston to Bowling Green, not terribly far, but certainly cutting that distance down by at least half by getting back into Southern Illinois and playing for Carbondale. As for the SIU men's program, head coach Scott Nagy dipping into the portal and officially signing. I believe we told you on Wednesday about the commitment. Now we have a signing from Quelron House, a 5'11" guard from Jacksonville State, 8.5 points a game this past season. He was a Conference USA all-freshman earthquake there for a second. A Conference USA all-freshman team member, started 22 games this past year for the Gamecocks, shot 36% from three. So a solid addition there in the backcourt. We don't see a lot of freshmen being signed anymore, and it's really going to be something that I think is on the men's side going to be an interesting thing to watch the evolution of the sport here in the next couple of years. Is what are the value? What is the value in freshmen? Is it better to just go get older guys and try to have them impact your team and impact winning immediately, rather than freshmen and developing them and then potentially just having them kind of plucked away? That's always kind of the fear. But as I've had coaches tell me before, if you sign kids and they come in and they get plucked away, that means they did well, and hopefully that means you did well as a program. And so maybe that's just it's just going to be something to deal with. But we have talked here for weeks about this kid out of the portal, that kid out of the portal. There are some high school signings taking place, and Scott Nagy has done one of those, at least a commitment. A signing is coming. His name is Jalen Haynes. He is from Sunrise Christian Prep School in Kansas, 6'4" point guard. So some size in the backcourt, certainly. But again, a young man for Coach Nagy to try to develop and build into something there in Carbondale with the Salukis. One other SIU note, an old friend, Sheridan Sharp, who hopped into the transfer portal after this past season. He has committed to Southern Indiana. One other commitment piece of news that we thought could be good news for Evansville ends up not. Larry Hughes II, who played at St. Louis, he had visited Evansville, I think 2 weeks ago, but in the end, Larry Hughes decides that he's going to go to Cal State Northridge instead. So we've seen so much interior size being brought back that David Ragland has really been bolstering the interior there, but would have been nice to get certainly a guard of that stature with Larry Hughes, but he's heading out west to Cal State Northridge. Belmont has signed a pair of players. Told you about the commitments, but now they are officially set. Isaiah West, who started his career at Samford, went to Vanderbilt, now just comes across the street to Belmont, 6'2" guards, got a couple of years left. And then Nick McLean, who played at Eastern Washington this past season, 6'3" guard, averaged better than 10.5 points per game. So replenishing the roster there for Coach Casey Alexander. I saw yesterday that Belmont threw this graphic up, and it was just like our roster, we're set, we're ready to roll. And I thought that was the portal is closed. My team is on the floor, and those are the 14 names that Casey Alexander has. And I have to imagine, just man, after this month of volatility from a roster standpoint of who's in the portal, who can you get out of the portal, and so on, it's got to be just on some level a sigh of relief for coaches to be like, okay, our roster is now set. Now that's the roster today. You still got to get them to campus in another month to start summer school, start summer workouts. So it's not a complete exhale, but you've at least you're on the way. And so we will talk. Don't forget, Casey Alexander will join us Monday morning right here on Morning in the Valley. We'll talk about his roster and looking ahead to the 25-26 season. At Valparaiso, Raheem Chaney as Roger Powell going into the prep school world as well. The 212 Sports Academy down in Sarasota, Florida, gets Raheem Chaney, a 6'3" point guard down in the prep school league he was playing at down there. I mean, just obviously an all-around player, averaged 25 a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. So certainly high hopes for Mr. Chaney coming into Valparaiso to help replace the All Rights of the world in the guard position at Valpo. At UIC, we have had a pair of signings, commitments we knew about, now official. Abdul Momo, the Defensive Player of the Year at Central Connecticut State last season, out of the Northeast Conference, 8.6 points, 6.1 rebounds. He has signed with UIC. The one we did not know about that skipped the commitment part, went right to signing, Ante Bellion from Little Rock, played for the Trojans last year. Head coach Darrell Walker down in the Ohio Valley Conference, 6'8", 2 years remaining, averaged 10 points, 4.5 rebounds for Little Rock last year. Not a three-point shooter, shot 57% from the field. Some interior size for Coach Rob Eson up there in Chicago. A neat story out of Terre Haute. And young man's name is Ian Scott. He has signed with the Sycamores, played 4 years at Grace College. That's an NAIA program. Was a first-team NAIA All-American this last season. 18 points, 8 rebounds a game at Grace College. 6'7" forward. For his career, he shot 65% from the floor, 37.5% from three, so he can step outside and knock down some shots as well. But the neat part about this story, his mom, Lavia, I hope I got her name pronounced right, once upon a time played at Indiana State, had a heck of a career, scored 1,300 points for the Sycamores back in the day, and now Ian coming back around to finish out his career with the Sycamores. The Drake Bulldogs getting some size. Coach Eric Henderson going into the portal and gets a young man by the name of Wilkins Jr., exact 6'6", 235-pound forward, has played 2 years at Utah, 1 year his freshman season in the 22-23 season, had an injury red shirt in 24, transferred to Bowling Green in the Mid-American Conference last year, 4 points, 4 rebounds, but 6'6", 235. That's a middle linebacker. And so you take that kind of size anytime you can get it. So Drake adding another horse to the stable there. Northern Iowa also getting after it in the transfer portal. We talked with J.W. Cox on Wednesday about, they're bringing 11 guys back from last year's team. You've got 2 freshmen coming in, a couple pieces to be able to fill around the edges from the portal, and they went and got some size from the high major level. Esmail Adoof out of NC State played 18 games last year, 6'9", thin, 215 pounds, but 6'9", jumper, rim protector. He is headed to Cedar Falls to join the UNI program. 2 other women's signings, transactions to talk about this morning. Drake, we talked to you about the commitment the other day. Lexi Carlson played at Northern Illinois, played for her mom there. Her mom resigned. She got into the portal. She goes to Drake, great outside shooter from Northern Illinois that will help Allison Pullman there at Des Moines. And then at Valparaiso, Courtney Boyd taking over a head coach, of course, left Division II Quincy and has come to Valpo. Michaela Huffine, who was a point guard there for Coach Boyd at Quincy, as our friend Paul Oren at the Victory Bell had a chance to talk to Michaela yesterday, and she was heartbroken that her coach left and moved on to Valpo. And the heartbreak was short-lived, as Michaela will now join her former head coach, now her current head coach, back at Valpo as Coach Boyd. A lot of those kids hopped into the portal there in Valpo, and so she's trying to have to build that back up. There's a few holdovers, but really needing to help bolster things. And Michaela Huffine, a familiar face, if nothing else, for Courtney Boyd, and certainly a kid that played well towards the end of the year there at Quincy, helped Quincy get into the Division II national tournament, and is a good addition there for the Beacons. And finally, Bradley, we talk about the we've talked about the retention at certain schools on the men's side. Northern Iowa, Illinois State, sort of the champion of retention right now. But Bradley putting out a post the other day that we're running it back, and we've got 10 returners from last year. And Kate Popovic-Goss has done really a really nice job as she gets ready for year number 4 there in Peoria. She took over the program, sort of gutted after a coaching change, went 4-28 her first season, 1-19 in the Missouri Valley. Year number 2, 6-26, 2-18 in the Valley. But then it was from year 2 to year 3 where you saw the leap to go from 4 wins to 6 wins, and now 14 wins this past season, 14-19 in the conference, to go from 1 win to 2 win, now all the way up to 7. They have seen considerable growth, and now to be able to bring those 10 back, to be able to try to build around that and see what kind of leap you can make from year 3 to year 4 is pretty awesome. So Coach Popovic-Goss with good foundational pieces to build on as we get ready for 2025-26. All right, that does it for this morning's edition of Morning in the Valley. Again, thank you all for being with us so far. We're closing out month number 1 with this little project, and hopefully you guys have all enjoyed it so far. If you have not subscribed yet, head on over to YouTube. Go to just search Morning in the Valley. Very easy to find. And if you can subscribe, like, share, send it out to all your Valley-loving friends that love this basketball conference, men's, women's, all of it. And we'll have them covered, again, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. here in the off-season, wherever you find us, on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. But it would do us a huge benefit if you can go to subscribe over on YouTube and help get the word out on this program. Again, Monday morning, we'll be back at 9 a.m. Belmont head coach Casey Alexander will join us as we'll talk some Bruin basketball coming up on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching Morning in the Valley, and we will see you on